Board of directors made a couple of decisions this time. We're always going after 100% growth, but that means there's a few different metrics we got to raise by 26%. Now, on the sales side, there was two areas. One of them was ALP per sale. The other was activity. So the first thing I want you guys to write down is this: double-digit sits no matter what. Now, I don't know if you guys see the commonality here, but everybody that spoke so far, they're not doing this seeing 5 or 6 people a week, are they? Or even 8 to 9 people a week, are they? All these guys are making a decision to, no matter what, week in, week out, see more than at least 10 people a week. I get it, 20 could be hard, but can we, as an organization, commit to 10? Is that okay? Because for me, I never started out great at sales. I wanted to be a manager, but I knew I needed to be good at sales and show people activity, right? So today, I hope I can help you diversify your ability to work different lead types like POS maybe, and how to continue that golden vein as well, okay? So there's 4 resources I want you to write down in this order. The first one, referrals. 2, POS. 3, response cards. And 4, McGruff and child safe kits. Now, in that order, these are the top 4 lead types that generate ALP for American Income Life, right? McGruff is so new. I know that metric's going to go up, but we find a lot of referrals from it. So traditionally, of course, right now, referrals is the #1 game, right? So the purpose of a POS sit, write this down. The purpose of a POS appointment is the same as every other. You're there to generate referrals, guys, all right? And you have to understand that first in order to work them well. I don't mind developing my skill set to convert referrals from McGruffs, but it might be nice to be able to work the #2 top generating ALP lead type 2 and generate referrals from them. Do you agree? So that's why you guys want to learn about it, because what if we hit 320 million, right? You guys live in territories where you can't order response cards for in town except for new agents. Some of you guys live in those territories, right? It might be all of them now. We ran into that because of the company's growth. So they're probably going to do that with McGruff one day too. But the best news about it is the more we sell, the more POS that gets generated. So of course you guys need to learn how to work them, right? And make sure you teach your future generation how to do it too. But in order for you guys to understand it better, let me give you the top 3 reasons why I always want to make sure these guys are great at it. POS referrals are the best referrals. That's #1. #2, proven buyers. And 3, quality boost. You guys making plans for 6 key areas, right? Well, when my quality sucked, that was my first piece of advice. Work some POS, right? They have a bank account. They have money in it. That's nice, right? And we already know that a draft's okay. So, of course, it helps with your quality, right? Now, I talked about proven buyers as well. Well, they have bought a policy with us in the past, and I teach my guys about the buyer's threshold. What they bought it in the past is often what they're willing to buy it again, right? Because what they already pay is built into their budget. Rick Altig used to have a training, and he talked about the magic wand. You guys know what I'm talking about with that? If you took 1,000 leads, right, and we could have a magic wand that pulled out all the buyers out of that stack, and you can go see those. Would you guys be pretty excited about that? Well, go work some POS. Is that okay? They're proven buyers. And why are POS referrals the best referrals? Well, let me ask you, when you collect referrals, would you prefer to see the ones that you sold, or the ones you collected from the people that you sold, or the people that you didn't sell, huh? What's a better referral there? The ones you sold, right? So same thing, right? I would rather see the people who was enrolled in the past because they believe in it. I can name drop mom and talk about what she got a lot easier than mom didn't decide to do this, but you should, right? So for those 3 reasons, that's why we do this. I think the hardest part about referrals, though, people have this perception that it's a very different presentation, right? Or maybe, it's low ALP per sale, or maybe it's hard to duplicate. Well, what if I told you the presentation can be 90% the same? Would you guys be okay with that? Or you can have over 1,300 ALP per sale, on POS presentations, right, consistently, I want to give you guys some strategies for that. But let me make sure you understand your role in a POS sit. With new clients, we are benefits representatives, kind of. We're enrollment officers. But in a POS, we're a service manager. Write that down. Service manager, because when you think about people who pay life insurance, how many people, even think about paying more? Nobody's excited to do that, right? So just as a service manager at, let's say, I don't know, a dealership, you're not selling them a car, you're fixing the car. Make sense? You're fixing the car, right? But that means it's up to you to identify what's broken. So before I get to that, right, we need to do our own 5-point inspection. You guys take your car to get an oil change. What do they often do, right? They do this inspection, and all of a sudden your brake pad's out, your coolant's leaking, and now you got to pay for that too, right? Well, I don't know if you know this, they're commissioned too, right? And they get paid to advise you to either make your car better or fix it, right? So in a POS, it's the same thing. Even though we're fixers in this role, the concept on how the sale is made is still the same. We build a need and present the solution. Build a need, present the solution. Read your entire script. That's exactly how it's designed. So here's the process for a POS. We're going to keep it simple. 4 things. Number 1, relationship. Number 2, referrals. Number 3, review. And 4, recommend. All right? So relationship. Strengthen or fix the relationship with the client first, before you service anything, before you do anything. Now, there's 3 types of clients that I run into. They're either happy, they're unhappy, or they're just confused. Agree? We could probably put them in any of those 3. So 66% of it, right, are either unhappy or confused. So the first thing you need to do is overcome that, right? And there's 2 things that I make sure I establish, and that's 1, credibility, and 2, expectations, right? So to build credibility, it's really simple. We need to remind them who we are, right? We don't publicly advertise. I don't expect them to think about us every day. They only think about us when we call them, right? So a lot of them forget who we are. They call us AIG or AmFam or something, right? They don't even know our name sometimes. So most of the time, I always lead in by reminding them who we are. And this is my question every time. By the way, how did you even get to join American Income Life? How did you even get the opportunity, right? And if it's a union member, or if they say they're a union member, I say, okay, well, that's great. Are you still in a union? Just to remind you, American Income provides all the key benefits for all the key unions in the area, like the cops, firefighters, teachers, and veterans. We work with over 44,000 unions. So good job on getting this started back in 2014. That's it, right? And if they're a referral, or a McGruff even, or a child safe kit, then I'm a little bit, I want to make sure they understand that, wow, you're kind of a happy accident, right? Oh my goodness, you're not even in a union? Well, hey, let me remind you, we work with all the key unions, groups in the area, like the cops, so it's the same thing, right? But you're making sure they understand how exclusive this was and how lucky they are to be working with us, right? Make them proud policy holders before diving in. So you don't have to kill that objection later on, okay? So, once again, when you do this, right, build that credibility, they're not going to do the whole, hey, we want to shop around at the end of it, right? You're killing all these objections as they come up. I said set proper expectations, right? Let them know what we're going to do just like every other sit. We're here to take care of 3 things today, right? Number 1, we're going to update your folder, replace any claims forms that are old, right? And we're going to order your missing policies, whatever it takes. Number 2, we're going to review your no-cost benefits and sponsorships. I'm going to talk about that. And number 3, we'll review your benefits so you know exactly how to use them. So those are my 3 things I tell them I'm going to go over, okay? So we're there to provide a service. Make sure you service the folder first. And once again, you just inspect folders, you clean it out, right? Just think about, hey, if your daughter, your son, right, had to use your folder one day, they've never been licensed, what would you want that to look like? It's that simple, right? Be a little bit of a neat freak. And, when you go into, before referral collection, this is where the process is the same. You're going to do No cost benefits, collect referrals, right? Because when you guys, who works POS now? Some of you guys already work it, right? How often, let's make sure everybody else knows, how often are family information guides completely filled out? Or child safe kids done, right? It never happens. Remind them the importance and help them reactivate their discount card, right? Little things like that. And when you go into referral collection, I do referral collection twice on POS, okay? The first set of referrals I collect is gonna be based on the ones they sponsored last time. The second set, the ones they didn't, right? So before the normal script, the reason why I do this is because I wanna kill the main objection in referral collection before it comes up on a POS. And what is it oftentimes, right? We already did this. We already gave it all to the last guy, right? I don't want to hear that, so I'm just going to ask him, hey, do you remember the sponsorship program? Because what they did is they gave you the opportunity to extend this, the same no-cost benefits to the family members that were going to help you out when something happens. Now, just like all the other members, I'm sure you took care of them last time, right? However, just like your benefits, theirs is expired too. So we'll be sure to help them get reactivated first before we think of anybody else. So the first person on your notification list you said was your mom, right? Virginia Beach or Chesapeake. Same system, right? Then after that, you can go to everything else. Hey, because you're a member in good standing, they're gonna allow you to extend this to a few more people, right? That can help out, or maybe it's close friends that you didn't think about last time. So who else can benefit from a child safe kid? That you guys get the point, right? Separate it, make it two different things. So after that, you can actually go to some recommendations. There's 3 things you can do for a POS, okay? Or at least, there's a lot you can do for POS, but to simplify it, you can either add or increase a benefit. You can either convert, right? Or, my favorites, I close on the hour power. So, now increasing a benefit, I'm just gonna give you a quick rule of thumb there, right? Maximize the ALP by only focusing on freedom of choice and paycheck. Can you do that, right? I mean, unless they're dying for a cancer policy, we don't need to bring that up, okay? But when it comes to a converting term, this is actually really important, guys. We have to do what's best for the client. Write that down. When converting terms, do what's best for the client. What I mean by that is if they're 30 and they just got a policy like 2 years ago, please don't flip their term to whole, right? Give them more term. Give them more paycheck so they actually have a larger payout. It does them no good to pay more for the family to get less when they're at such a young age, right? But if let's say they're 55 and they only have $8,000 in freedom of choice, sure, let's raise their final expense, right? So as an organization, we always have to commit to do what's best for the client. But the biggest issue with adding a benefit, converting term, is you're limiting your ALP. You're limiting your ALP per sale, right? So I want to quickly talk to you guys how I approach this based on the hour power close, okay? When you go through the benefits, paint the picture. You're going to explain to them what a full plan looks like, what a full 2-hour, a 3-hour plan looks like, okay? And when you explain, write this down, explain assumptively. So when I go over this, it's almost like family information guide. We say, hey, you must have life insurance, don't you? We're assuming it, so that way if they don't have it, it's a problem. You're going to make the same assumption. Just like everybody else, they probably have all the benefits for their family. Make sense? So when I go through it, there's 3 expectations that you want to adjust a little bit, okay, and make sure they understand. The first one is most members set aside at least 2 to 3 hours a week, okay? Most members spend at least $30,000 for their funeral and final expenses because of inflation. You want them to understand most members have at least 5 to 10 years of their paychecks protected, okay? So again, my mission is to build the need first and then present the solution. Timing is everything. Disclosure at the proper timing always benefits the client. So when you guys go through this, right, I start by reminding them what the hour power is. Do you remember what the hour power program was, right? Well, you don't. Well, hey, based on eligibility, all the qualified members, they allowed them to set aside 3 hours per week to protect their family's future, right? And there were 3 main areas of concern. So then From there on, 90% of the script is the same. Like I said, you're going to go through all of it, right? And throughout, it's very simple. You just need to plant the seed. So, hey, have you planned a funeral before? Oh, you haven't. Or, hey, oh, you have. Okay, great. Well, most families, because of funeral and final expenses, they're spending an upward of $30,000 when something happens, right? I plant the seed. So, hey, they're not concerned about when you die, if you die, it's when you die, and you just move on, okay? You're not going to attack it quite yet, but you're going to make sure they understand it, and you can do the same thing like that on paycheck protection. So when you guys actually get to completing section C, that's when the need is built, and it's time for me to present the solution. So you're going to now start by identifying the gaps, right? You're going to start identifying the gaps by asking questions. So I'm going to go back to this. Hey, by the way, how much do you actually make an hour again? So when I'm done, hey, let's go over and review your plan. How much do you make an hour again? Let's say they say, I don't know, $30. I make $30 an hour, right? And if they say 30, then I'm going to be confused a little bit and ask them, hey, well, do you know how much you're actually paying right now? Let me look it up for you. I add up all their different stuff on the cash sheet, right? And I let them know, hey, you're only paying about $109 a month. What happened there, right? Was it health? Was it affordability? Were you bigger back then? I don't know. What was going on, right? Or did you maybe ask to start with a basic option? Now, when I say that, 9 out of 10 times, they always say, oh, yeah, that must have been it. Oh, yeah, maybe it was too expensive, right? So that's when you can give them the good news. Hey, okay, well, you know what? Breathe. I got good news for you, right? Well, first off, let me go through these medical questions first. And as long as you can still qualify, we'll go and help you out today. We'll help you fix this. Make sense? And from there, that's when you can bring it back up, because when I highlight to them, well, shoot, that's why your freedom of choice is only 10K, not 30. That's why it's only 2 years, not 5, right? Let me make sure you can even qualify first, right? And if you can, we'll solve this right now. Okay? A little bit short on time here. I'm going to give you one last thing on the close, okay? Just to make sure you keep the ALP healthy, keep the ALP high. After medical questions, right? Same thing, don't reinvent the wheel. Hey, congrats. Looks like you can qualify, right? You can keep all that the same. So hey, well, I'm glad we're gonna fix this today. Now, provided you can actually get in, this is what I do. I actually took this from Dunbar. Where's Dunbar? I like to close on a draft date and leave it at one option, okay? So there's two options. You can either close on price, right? Or you can close on a draft date. So hey, provided you can even get in, do you wanna do, what most members do, they just set it up on the same draft date. Now it's going to be the full 60 a week, $260 a month. That could come out on the 14th. Or you can do what some of the members like to do, and they just set it up bi-weekly. Which do you prefer? Do you want to set it up this way, or do you want to just split them apart, right? So when you do that, you don't have to option close them on the lower ALP sale, right? And you keep the ALP high, and at least you do one down close and not two. Thank you.